So that's kind of the next phase that we're looking at, because I'd sooner people in the accounts team be focused on sort of value add activities really, and to me putting an invoice on doesn't really add any value. It's just replicating information. So if we can find a way of doing that quicker, it allows people's time to be spent on areas that will benefit the business more. So that's one area that we're looking at. I think previously TradeX was the option, but I understand from Franco now that there's a sort of there's an OCR functionality that could be an option as well. So I'm trying to arrange an online meeting given the current situation, to sort of go through that a little bit in detail. And then in terms of the mobile, I think previously we didn't really consider it. So our staff are mainly office based, with the exception of the commercial team that will be sort of to and from site. But one thing we are looking at now is the site requisitions. So rather than orders being phoned in or emailed in from site, that option for them to have most of your product catalogue, and then they can start the order process from site and do it that way. I think before we've been a bit reluctant, just because again it's based on that cultural change and behaviour. I think most businesses will be the same. We could look at half of our sites and say, yeah, they'd do it no problem. I'd find another 10% and go, there's no way they're ever going to do it. So that was more the limiting factor. But we are looking at it a little bit more now. And I think the reason we're doing that is because without it, I think in the industry, there's a lot of different terms for the same product. So sometimes when site order something through, they'll call it one thing. A buying team might know it as another thing. Our supplier might know it as something else completely different. So there's a risk that somewhere along that process, we order the wrong product, which obviously causes inefficiencies and additional cost potentially on site. So if everybody was using the same generic product library that our suppliers have had involvement in, for example, then the risk of us misordering a product is kind of a lot lower, which means we should get a lot less like wastage and inefficiency. So that's one of the main reasons we've started to look into that. I think we'll still have a challenge with the users on site, but we might roll it out to a few to start with and see where it goes from there, really.
That sounds great. So finally, I want to ask you, if you have industry colleagues who are perhaps sitting on the fence about implementing a solution like EasyBuild, what would you say to them?
I'd say it's something that you're best to go ahead with. I don't think you should rush into a decision by any means. We had obviously multiple suppliers in. I think Franco came in 3 or 4 times to talk to us, so it wasn't kind of first meeting, oh, this looks great, let's do it. I think that kind of the selection process is really important, and really understanding what your requirements are at that stage to make sure that the system does what you need it to do is crucial. And that's quite hard sometimes because, like for us, for example, previously we're quite limited because of the system we were using. So trying to think about what you want it to do that you've not been able to do before is quite hard. And sometimes you only actually realize things as you're going through the process. So spending a lot of time up front and involving people that do those roles day in, day out and know them better than anyone is really important, because then you have, right, this is my must-haves, this is my nice-to-haves. So that for me is really, really key. But then, yeah, it's a fairly long and challenging process in terms of the implementation. But I don't think anyone's ever going to do that smoothly, really. If they do, then fantastic. But it might be the more that something's been missed. But so yeah, I think being prepared for that. But I can say that once that is done and once it is live, then you can reap benefits from day one, really. So it is worth the kind of the challenge of going through that process, because once you've done it and if you've got it right, then you shouldn't have to do it again for a long time, if it is scalable with your business. So it is definitely worth investing that time, but just as long as you're prepared in advance, then I think that's the biggest thing. If you are rushing to a deadline, or you aren't kind of fully aware of what you need, I think that's when it will become stressful, and perhaps you might think that you've not made the right decision.
So it's a tailored solution, isn't it? And I guess that's the really important part of the pre-implementation process, is working together with EasyBuild and your colleagues to work out exactly what's needed, so that the solution is perfectly tailored to your needs and hopefully your future needs as well.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things we toyed with is that we had various IT people say they could build us their own solution for our business, and there obviously are certain benefits to that, but we didn't want anything that was completely specific to us, because then the support function becomes a lot more challenging. If they retire or go and do something else, then actually all that knowledge is gone. So obviously one of the benefits with EasyBuild, it is technically off the shelf, but it is construction specific. So it's already tailored to most of our business processes, because other ground workers already use it. And the 3 or 4 boxes that it might not tick at the start, they can be added to a development, and when they're developed, they are applied to every version of EasyBuild used by every client. So the support it's still a generic add-on to the system. It's not that your version of EasyBuild has got something different to somebody else's and you need a specific contact in support. It's a benefit to everybody. So we've got a couple of things sort of in progress with the development team now, which I just need to get an order returned. So obviously, yeah, EasyBuild are really accommodating in terms of adding things to the system, because they obviously want to support us as a client, but if it benefits us, it should benefit other clients that do the same thing that we do. So yeah, it can be added on as you go, and it isn't just because it won't do it at the start doesn't mean that it can't do it in the future.
Great. Oh, that's really good to hear. And I love the fact that you've said you will reap the benefits from day one. That's really powerful. So thank you so much for your time, Adam. I really appreciate it. And take care, and hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.